So hello and welcome people back to Let's Play Syberia, and all of our things are gone. So let's save.
After I've been
Katie,
robbed,
could you... There we go.
I like to save. Uh, I appreciate the attempt to make it feel game-like by allowing you to move, but then putting in this frequently in the scene transitions, these rigid, very specific locations that you have to hit, just ruins the immersion that being able to control yourself this freely is supposed to bring.
Kate Walker!
Oscar, what's going on? Why has the train stopped? Where are we?
The springs of the train are unwound again, Kate Walker. As for the question pertaining to our geographical location, I really haven't the slightest idea.
Well, we'd better get looking for a winding machine, my dear Oscar. I hope that this place actually has one.
The air here is so polluted that I could not possibly risk leaving the locomotive. My joints might corrode irreparably.
Right. Let's see. Okay, let's try looking on the bright side here. I need to stretch my legs.
Is there something wrong, Kate Walker? Are you uncomfortable? Are the passenger facilities on this train substandard? I shall draw up a formal complaint form for you immediately.
No, Oscar, everything's fine, I assure you. A little walk will do me good, that's all. Gosh, it's really gloomy here. I wonder where on earth I'm going to find a winding machine.
I have total confidence in you, Kate Walker. You are, after all, a brave and resourceful woman.
Yeah, right. Oscar, you couldn't make a little effort for just this once. If we both went looking for the winding machine, the two of us together might find it quicker.
You are in all probability correct, Kate Walker. But the high level of heavy metal miasma that pollutes the atmosphere could cause havoc to my wheelwork.
Let's hope Hans Vorarlberg once lived here as well. Maybe he planned for his locomotive's unplanned stop and installed a winding machine as well. Otherwise, it's not looking great for the rest of the journey.
Do not forget that Hans Vorarlberg is a genius in the true sense of the word.
But is he a genius with a sense of forward planning?
We will find that out when we find the winding machine.
My God, Oscar, what would I do without you? We just keep stopping. When will we ever get to the end of this journey?
Simply wind up the spring and we can set off immediately.
From your mouth to God's ears. See you soon, Oscar.
I shall stay right here, Kate Walker.
This is probably the easiest mission to actually wind up the train in the entire game. Well, the second easiest one. In any case, I do like the little thing they had with he is a genius in this true sense of word, in a true sense of word, but is he a genius with a sense of forward planning?
Yeah.
Now, it's kind of yeah and nay. All things considered, we have been always ending up at a station that happens to have one of those winding machines.
I mean,
Except in Barkstad, I guess he was not able to put the like. I like to think that the explanation why the winding machine wasn't on the station is because he wasn't allowed to because of the birds.
I like to think that this is a very bizarre world where they just are willing to put in a winding machine for literally one person to use in these train stations.
All things considered, he was in Valadi Line. It is a Vorarlberg factory, so that's kind of an
that one makes sense. I'm talking about all the other locations.
Then in Barkstad, he did make a lot of contributions for the for the university, and he studied there.
Right, but like trains don't work like this. You don't have private trains that you just say, I'm just going to take it out on the tracks here,
Yes.
But railroads don't work that way, and you would just, if you just had your train in the station like this. There's like not an alternate path here, and someone else came along and had to,
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
well, I can with this one, it kind of makes sense why there is a winding machine when we see the rest of the place.
Okay. Also,
In
communist
Barkstadt
robot.
is a little bit of a. I guess they allowed him to do that because of all of the things he did. Like the wall and the bandstand.
In communist canyon, robot winds you. Sorry, go ahead.
Exactly, the communist Voltron.
Um, that's okay. So you got that. That was the like you said, the quickest.
That was the quickest wind-up. Now, remember that we do stop in this location from, like, this perspective. It's important for later.
Okay. Also, why did you have to move the Voltron back?
Because we wouldn't be able to leave it. Like, the part of the ladder is stationary and part of the ladder is attached to the communist Voltron.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we weren't actually able to just exit at any point we wanted to. See? This one's stationary.
Hey, you there!
So, why did... Okay. It just does feel weird that they just stopped you here. Like... I guess that we're gonna figure out why. But,
They also, like, take away control from you for that moment. So that's double weird for when you're actually playing the game. She just starts walking in that direction.
right,
Rather
and
than
you
actually
aren't
being a
used to-
cutscene.
You aren't used to those kinds of cutscenes in this game.
No, it's like the only instance of one of the two instances of that happening. But yeah, there was a weird man leaving our train. But going back to the rigid animations, I guess they didn't want to do the whole sliding into position. But at the same time, this really breaks the flow a lot of the times. It's one of the things I really disliked about certain 7th gen games where they really try to animate too much.
My dear brother, what joy to have news of you after your long silence during the war years. So, you're working for the Russians now. I tell you, we've been hearing some worrying stories about them here. Just your description of that dingy factory makes me cough. But it's so good to hear that your talent is being recognized for its true value, and that your automaton creations are taking the place of workers for all those menial jobs. I'm so proud that Vorarlberg automatons are making such a contribution, even if it is small, to the improvement of people's lives.
Meanwhile, back in Valladolid, we've been licking our wounds after the war years. Some people have returned, others not. Life is slowly coming back, but it's taking time. All my love, Anna.
So yeah, now we know that why there will be a winding machine at the station.
Oh, that's interesting. I was gonna say, I think that they should do. I think this game would be better if they had rails, basically.
Yes, and just move from one
Oscar.
location to location.
Oscar, talk to me.
Okay.
We will need it for later.
Just that's gonna. The weird. It would be less weird if they didn't show you the animation of things going into her jacket, because that like makes you know exactly where things
She
are
can
supposed to
put
be.
legs in there.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Why, it is absolutely inadmissible, intolerable, and indescribable. I have been attacked.
What do you mean you've been attacked?
My hands! I no longer have them! They have been stolen!
My God, you haven't got your hands! But who did this? What's going on here?
We can be sure of one thing, Kate Walker. That this heinous crime was committed by a barbarian. A dysfunctional individual whose behavior lacks all finesse.
Did you get a look at your attacker? Tell me exactly how it happened.
I was standing here polishing up my metalwork. I was just thinking that with all the dust in the air, it would be a good idea to...
Oscar!
I was very busy, and I suddenly felt two powerful arms grab me from behind and tie me up before I had the chance to defend myself. I wanted to call out, but my attacker gagged me before I could emit the slightest sound. Then he dismantled my hands with a terrifying pair of pliers. It was horrible.
I can believe it, my poor Oscar, but did you see him?
He was a real barbarian, I tell you. He had bloodshot eyes, steel teeth, and brown scaly skin, and he emitted foul odors. He was a monster, Kate Walker, a real monster, and he had a weapon.
Oscar, please calm down. Everything's going to be all right. Who the heck would be interested in automaton hands?
Even though I say so myself, my hands are two marvels of technology. Please promise to return them to me intact as quickly as possible. I am very attached to them, Kate Walker.
You were attached to them, Oscar, but like you said, I'm a brave and resourceful woman.
Thank you, Kate Walker. But please, above all, do be careful.
Don't you worry about that, Oscar. Right, Oscar? Let's go find this hand bandit. And this time we're not going to be such a pushover.
Kate Walker, please do not think that this problem does not concern me. But if it's all the same to you, I would so much prefer to stay here, just to be on the safe side. An engineer never abandons his train, after all.
Yeah, sure. Another good reason not to lend a... not to help me out.
Kate Walker, even an automaton deserves a little compassion. I have just been savagely assaulted. Oh, I can feel one of my spasms coming on. I am on the verge of a clockwork breakdown. And all you do is accuse me of being selfish.
Okay, take a rest, Oscar. You're not much use without your hands anyway. Anything else you remember, Oscar?
I have told you everything, and I'd rather not think about it anymore.
How old do you think your attacker was?
How old? Such monsters are ageless. I tell you, my wheelwork froze with fear.
I think he must have been an older man. Someone with a soft spot for automatons. An expert who knows how to dismantle a pair of hands with a pair of pliers.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow you.
And what if it was Hans Vorarlberg himself?
Kate Walker, in spite of the respect in which I hold you, permit me to say that such an idea is stupid. Hans Vorarlberg, my attacker. A father would never attack his offspring. Get a grip on yourself. I should point out in all modesty that my attacker must have had muscles to overcome an automaton of my build.
Maybe you're right there, Oscar. I do apologize. Do you know if your attacker stole anything else?
As soon as he'd swiped my hands, he ran away.
Well, at least that's one good piece of news. The train's still intact.
What do you mean, intact? I am the train engineer. It was designed for me, and I for it. By maiming me in this brutal manner, the barbarian has also mutilated our locomotive. Without me and my hands, we're never going anywhere.
Sure, okay. Could you maybe tell me how the train works, then?
That is strictly forbidden, Kate Walker. There is only one engineer, and that train engineer is me. I am sure you don't have a license or authorization or even a deputy engineer's permit.
Do you really think it's the right moment to get wrapped up in red tape, Oscar?
Regulations are regulations, Kate Walker.
Right. I'm done. Take care of yourself, Oscar.
Good luck, Kate Walker. And don't forget me.
Yes.
Nico, if Mr. Vorarlberg took his hands, then they'd start calling him Hans Vorarlberg.
horrible. They should have actually said that. Just
Yeah.
pointed out as one of the arguments. Kate would be like, well, you know, his name is Hans, which is a letter away from.
Yeah. Anyway, so from what I'm getting, Hans Vorarlberg designed the automatons which murdered all of the people for Stalin.
Well, we will get
They
to that.
did actually show an image of Stalin from like a newsreel.
Yes, but we will get to that. In any case, we have to use the communist Voltron once more, and remember that one step. See over there, there is like a little thing that's sticking out from the entire construction.
To be honest, I would never have like gotten that. I mean, I guess it's a small enough area that you'd get it, but
Yeah,
it's
and
not
it can only
intuitive
stop
thing.
at 3 locations, that being train, ladder, and here. We wouldn't have been able to do anything here before because we wouldn't have had the this.
Okay.
And now we can enter and swipe some swag.
Are you going to get a hammer?
Nah.
I think that,
There we go.
that's a thing they're always talking about, mostly walking, is like, if you get a hammer, it really would be the solution to almost every puzzle in an adventure game. They just won't let you use it.
Which is why I remember when we played what was the Amulet of Dreams, we'd
Yeah.
get like several ropes
Yep.
because everything could only be used once.
Mm-hmm. Or they have the
Go that
problem
way.
like Grim Fandango, where he's just like, I don't want to mess up my blade. So you're not allowed to use your scythe to just cut stuff, even though it's a scythe. Sometimes.
Or I remember in the Telltale Sam & Max games, you had a gun, but there was always a reason not to use it, except for like 1 or 2 situations.
Yeah, I think like gun, hammer, and one other thing, I forget what it is, are like the 3 things that you just shouldn't give players in adventure games because they will just rub them on everything.